Look at the impact he's made. Made his debut June 6th against the Dodgers. The Reds are 23-8. One of the best teams in the National League. So will that continue to be the case? Will the Reds win the NL Central because Ellie De La Cruz is playing an entire half of baseball this regular season? What do you think?
I think so. I think they're hot. Look, they haven't been this hot in a long time. I think David Bell will also use them in the right directions. I'm calling it right now. This guy is a sneaker for a sneak for Rookie of the Year.
You think he can snag Rookie of the Year from Corbin Carroll?
So. I think he's probably going to hit for another cycle, and I think he's going to steal home twice. Second half prediction, baby.
Which should count for 2 stolen bases, by the way.
Why not?
If you steal home, you should get 2 stolen bases. All right, so you think that they're going to be the surprise team?
Yeah.
They're going to win the Central.
I think when you look at them and where they're at right now, they're built. Hunter Green's going to come back. Andrew Abbott's been fantastic.
Will they be buyers at the deadline?
And what about Votto, too?
Votto's been great, too.
Tear.
I think they'll be buyers at the deadline. No question about it.
Okay.
They should be.
Are you bullish about the Reds like he is?
I am bullish, but I still think the Brewers end up winning that division. I'm just, I'm all over Yonder's Cincinnati Reds here. Look, the Brewers, between their pitching, I think Craig Counsell has a lot to do with it, but they've always been a really good second half, typically under Craig Counsell. I see that happening, and the biggest thing too is I don't think they're going to make that same mistake they did last year as far as trying to, stay competitive and still retool when they traded Hader and just crush that clubhouse. They're going to be buyers at the deadline, I think, as well, and bring in players to help, put them over the edge to be able to win that division. That's just my take. I think the Brewers end up winning that division.
And the Brewers, statistically, historically, they've done a lot better in the second half, and I think it has to do with that starting pitching in their bullpen.
All right, so let's talk about some of the surprising teams in the American League. What do we think of the Texas Rangers? The Texas Rangers have cooled off dramatically. Last 3 weeks of the first half, they kind of let the division be super competitive again. They still had a great overall first half, 52-39. Are the Rangers winning the West, Yonder Alonso?
No, man. Look, this one for me is very kind of shaky. I still believe the Houston Astros, who haven't really had a healthy roster, full healthy roster, they're just 2 games out. And when you look at them and what they've done, I can't knock on what Dusty Baker has done in all these years. I still think the Houston Astros are going to probably sneak away with that division. I know
You don't think the Rangers are going to go all in at the deadline and get some starting pitching and to bolster the rotation?
I think they have starting pitching. I think they've done well enough, but I just think since June 7th, they just haven't played really good baseball. They haven't really won a series since June 7th. For me, the Houston Astros, we got to give them a lot more credit. And the Rangers have, if not the toughest schedule coming. I know. A lot of people don't really want to look at that now.
I like that.
They look at it more in September. But right now, you got to, as a player, I'm thinking in the second half, I'm home, I'm hanging out, I'm getting ready for the second half. I look at that schedule and I'm seeing, oh my goodness, this is going to be a tough battle. Like, everybody knows who they're playing. So I think that's a little bit of a concern.
So they were surprised in the first half. They're not going to be a surprise in the second half, according to Yonder Alonso. What about the Baltimore Orioles? This is a good team. Can they be a surprise in the second half?
No, they're definitely a surprise on the season. A lot like, the Diamondbacks and a lot like, your Cincinnati Reds, too, just because you have a young team. You're not really sure, what your young players are going to be able to provide over the course of the year. When they actually step up and graduate and play well, then you have a good team. They have a tremendous amount of talent between, Adley Rutschman coming up, completely changed, that organization as soon as he came up last year. Gunnar Henderson, the back end of that bullpen is shut down with Cano and Batista there. I love Brandon Hyde, too. He was a coach of mine with the Cubs, and I think he's doing a fantastic job.
A playoff team? Will they be in the playoffs?
I think so.
Okay. But they're not winning these. They're not going to win these.
We'll see.
Oh, we'll see. Well, because the Rays are a really good team, but they're not alone. Every team's a really good team in the AL East. Like, this is something we've never seen before. Your Hankook AL East standings, what is the common theme?
That's nuts right there.
Every team's above 500.
Unreal.
44 years old. I've never seen a division where the last place team could be 10 games over 500.
Sometimes I look at that and I say, somebody's getting the short end of the stick here. Like, I kind of wish these divisions were treated a little bit different, where you would just say, whoever has the best records, the best 8 team records, get in. Like, you're seeing a team like, with all due respect, a team like the Guardians or the White Sox or Detroit, like, anybody can get in there. You're having a team like Boston.
You gotta win your division.
10 games up on the 500, man.
Beauty of it, man. That's the beauty of it. And when you look at payrolls, the Tampa Bay Rays don't have one of the highest payrolls. They got the great record in the American League. Who do have the top 3 payrolls? The Mets, they're under 500. The Yankees,
they're doing well.
They're not in first place. The San Diego Padres. All right, let's fix these teams for the second half. Who do the Mets need to play out of his mind if they're going to turn things around in the second half?
Well, I think they need to continue. Alvarez needs to continue doing what he's doing. I mean, at 21 years old, to be doing what he's doing behind the plate for the Mets is pretty. For me, it's pretty staggering. Because at 21 years old, like I couldn't imagine myself being in the big leagues like this, and trying to help a team get to the postseason. He's been tremendous offensively. Obviously, at 21, there's a lot of learning curve there behind the plate as far as calling a game and managing a game with the veteran pitching staff that they had. But they need him to continue doing what he's doing, and that hopefully will help transition and translate into, their pitching staff also, kind of helping them put themselves back on the mat. They need, Max and Justin to, pitch, to the level that they need, and they need a little bullpen help too.
The one thing I've always been kind of concerned, question mark, with Alvarez was his catching ability. He's been tremendous.
Yeah,
they've done a really good job with him. The way they've kind of just brought him up with their catching and his metrics, they've been phenomenal.
And again, he didn't play the entire first half, and he put up those numbers in the first half. So what can he do in the second half? We'll be watching.
Confidence.
What about the San Diego Padres? What needs to happen to fix the Padres and get them in the playoffs?
Greg, sometimes the best trades you make are the ones that you don't make at all. So maybe you do stay still, but for the sake of this, I would think the biggest hole right now in need is a really good first baseman. We know what AJ Preller has done. I would go get a guy like Paul Goldschmidt.
Ooh.
That's who I would go get. You've made trades after trades after trades. AJ Preller's not scared to make big trades at the trade deadline. Remember what they did a couple years ago? They got Soto. They've done bigger trades in the past as well. I would think a guy like Paul Goldschmidt will kind of put him over the top. He'll be that guy that's a run producer, a guy who gets on base, really good defense. And we look at the comparisons, what they've done with the Padres first basemen. There's been about 5 guys that have played that position. They haven't done that well. We know that the St. Louis Cardinals are in selling mode. So I would say, why not? It's not going to take that many prospects. I don't see it. Yes, I know, Greg. You're St. Louis Cardinals. The Pyramids, Nolan and Paul Goldschmidt.
It just
but
sounds
why
like
not? It's a phone call.
That's a teardown.
We gotta know why.
That's a teardown.
So what?
I don't think that's good.
Maybe.
I don't know.
For the sake of
that trade, Preller's got to be. He's got to get a little creative for that trade.
He's always been. It's AJ Preller,
that's
baby.
His thing.
Yeah, the New York Yankees were creative because they're struggling offensively, especially without Aaron Judge. He's got this toe issue after running into a wall. Look at this. They're ranked since June 4th. That's when he last played, was June 3rd. They're one of the worst offenses. Their average is last, on base last, slugging last. So you get rid of your hitting coach. Who can save the Yankees in the second half? Can Sean Casey, our dear friend, the new hitting coach of the New York Yankees, really turn things around for this organization?
Sometimes, and I've always said this, a new face, a new voice, a new leader in the meetings, just a new air in those hitters' meetings can bring so much lightness to a struggling offense. I would think that in the second half, this offense is going to be a lot better. And I think it has a lot to do with Sean Casey and what he brings. This is a positive type of guy. This is a guy that even if you go for 4, there's nothing better than going and having a bad day and says, hey, I know what that feels like. I know what how to make adjustments and how to get better. I think Sean Casey, if not, is the best trade deadline acquisition that the Yankees have made this year.
What was he known for? Grinding out at bats. He did a demo years ago where he claimed he could foul off great pitches intentionally. And then in Studio 42, Al Leiter threw nasty cutters that he, live on the air, was fouling off intentionally. So he has a different way of looking at hitting. Do you think it'll pay off?
No, I think it's a good move, too. And to Yander's point, as far as having a new voice, we know Casey. It's the energy that he brings in the room. Like, everyone, like, gravitates towards him when he's in a room, right? I mean, he's just gregarious. Yeah, he's a tremendous person, extremely positive. And I think that kind of mentality, that kind of approach, obviously, from a new perspective, a new person, and especially someone that has the pedigree of him, doing it in the big leagues, can make a big difference. With guys, we have a veteran team. Guys, they don't need a new philosophy on hitting. They already know what they need to do.
If you don't got your mechanics by now,
it's just about the energy. It's a new thought. It's a new thought process, a new mentality, and bringing a guy like that as positive as Sean is, can make a difference.
Greg, he's a baseball rat. He watches baseball every day.
Yep.
He knows exactly what's going on with the Yankees. He knows exactly what's going on with all those hitters. I believe this.
They
got to
buy into it, though. That's the thing. You got to buy into it.
Now, if Aaron Judge comes back, that's probably one of those guys that you kind of leave alone. But they've got a lot of guys.
Greg, let me tell you this. Great players like to be coached. It doesn't matter who you are. You can be the best of the best. You still need a voice behind you that can kind of get you ready for your at-bats and your daily grind.
And Aaron Judge is a great player. Is he the only great player on that team right now? Do they need to go get another player? Do they need Shohei Ohtani?